allow me to reintroduce myself. I am the sovereign. This is so exciting for me. Not because, and I don't know, y'all can look it up, I guess, or whatever. This is not me being like, oh, look at me, I'm in charge, I'm the boss. That's not what it means, so just look it up. I'm gonna go over it with y'all a little bit because I came on here to rant, to do like what I file away as video journal and small possibility of posting at some point, but it's like so all over the place and like just like a jumbled up big mess of my thoughts just like blurting out, that more than likely I won't post it just for the sake of everyone's mental health. So, but they're good for me, you know, which is enough at that time, especially if I'm going through something. Anyways, so something happened like an hour ago that really just it had my blood fucking boiling, okay? It still bothers me, but now I've came to this and I'm like, I don't even give a fuck about that now. But I've been playing around with this idea of like my two personalities, I guess, or like, so far with the help of AI, I ain't even gonna sit here and act like I don't use AI for help, because I do, but whatever. So with the help of AI, I've been coming on to this idea of like, we've kind of came up with Kelsey the healer, and then Kels something. And I was just gonna say Kels was here, because like Kels, that's like my nickname, close people call me that, whatever. So I was just gonna like play around with those two. But I knew there was a depth to it, like there's something there, but I like couldn't figure out like exactly what it was. So then tonight, when this little situation occurred, I went from like the way that it made sense in my brain, and the only way I had to label it was with the Kelsey Kills thing, you know. And so I was like, okay, well, this is a prime example of when Kills comes out. And this is the Kills that's like fierce, unapologetic, standing 10 toes down, like look me dead in my face and tell me that shit again type person, you know. And I say it with, you know, class and poise and whatever, but I also make it very abundantly clear that that ain't gonna work here. Like you didn't come across this girl that's just gonna agree with you because you feel like you have some type of influence or whatever, because you're giving advice to someone that is struggling with something you don't struggle with. I can't really explain what happened by just giving these general terms. I don't want to go into all that because that's not important. But basically, it's this, like, I can only describe it as fierce. Like, I don't know. It's like a lioness, you know, like that. Just, you know, she's elegant and like chill for the most part, and just kind of like, you know, whatever. But then it's like, you know, let somebody mess with one of her cubs and your whole head's coming off your body. Like it's over it, you know, like it's done. It's a done deal. So like that's how I like, that's the best way for me to describe this person. But it's just fierce, fiercely protective, fiercely authentic, in the sense of like, I stand on my truth. Like, if I feel that this is the right thing or the wrong thing or whatever, but normally it's the right thing, because I feel like wrong can be a very serious gray area, and I ain't even going to touch on that. But let's just say it's the right thing, or else it's the right thing for me, or if it's just my truth, or whatever it is. Like, I have fully, I promise you, processed all of this out, like whatever it is that I'm standing on at that point in time. Like, I have came to a full realization of that truth, and so I own it. And so, like, you're not going to be able to do or say anything that's going to minimize it or downplay it or anything else. Like, you're not going to get me to, like, be unwavering or be wavering. I am being unwavering. Okay, whatever. So that's, like, kind of like where I'm at with it now, which is just this, like, standing your ground. Like, I'm not going to back down. Like, you are not going to put this box, it's the box, y'all, the box, I'm not going to go into this box that you want me to go into because you're uncomfortable with my truth, and so therefore you try to minimize it or downplay it or try to make me doubt it or try to come off as if you know better than me, and therefore the way I'm feeling is not intelligence based, I guess. I don't know. I'm struggling with that. I need to get past this part. Okay, so this Kales is fierce, and it's doesn't come out a whole lot, and it almost always comes out in a form of protection. Normally it's protecting those that I love, those close to me. Sometimes, like tonight, it was protecting my truth and protecting my mission and my purpose and protecting, like, who I know myself to be and who I have just very recently began to, throughout this journey, I'm starting to become this person with y'all. Like, I've always been underneath, but I've never, like, walked in it. I'm just now walking in it, and I'm just now finally owning it and walking in it and being like, yeah, like, I'm so not sorry. I'm not going to stop being too intense. I'm not. I'm so not sorry that I am so raw and unfiltered and authentic that the mirror that I hold up to you makes you uncomfortable. I'm not sorry for that. I'm so not sorry for that. I'm so not sorry for being this version of me, because somebody needs this. Somebody was me. There's a bunch of me's out there, probably. There's a bunch of sovereigns all over the place that the world has tried to shut up and force into a box that they don't belong in. And you know why? I'll tell you why. It all comes down to the same thing. It was tonight. It's the same thing in comfortability. Okay? Let me just give you a secret here. Let you in on a secret. The reason why we are forced or feel forced into these boxes, into these shrunken states, being reduced of our full selves, compromising ourselves. The reason why these people do it and want us in this box is for one reason, one word: comfort. That's literally it. Is that our presence, our intensity, our fullness makes them uncomfortable. So I just want you to grasp this real quick before I get to my main point, which is that we have been allowing ourselves to be forced into boxes to make others feel comfortable. Like, we're not doing it so that someone won't feel sad or betrayed or, harmed by us in some way, or, to make them no longer be in pain or whatever. All we're doing by going into that box is sparing them discomfort. I'm pretty sure that most of the people I'm talking to right now are probably pretty comfortable with discomfort, because if you have lived your whole life being less of a version of yourself than what you know deep down that you are, then you are uncomfortable. You're not fully comfortable because you're not fully yourself, because you're being told to be something else or be less of yourself. Why? So they can be comfortable. But what does that mean? If they get to be comfortable, then what do you have to be? Uncomfortable. But the thing is that not everybody's cut like we cut. I'm not even going to go into the quote. So not sorry. I'll go into it later. But not everybody is cut like us. So we have, by being forced into this box, learned uncomfortability and what it feels like to be uncomfortable, and how at the end of the day, when you spread out the vast amount of emotions at our like that flow through us at certain time, any given time during our life, whatever, the complexities of those emotions, out of all that shit, as far as like on a scale of 1 to 10, which is the worst, which is the best, uncomfortability, like on the scale of negative emotions, is like the negative emotions would be, let's just say depression is here, or like suicidal or whatever, like, the furthest negative emotion that you can get, to where basically like you don't believe in life at all. Okay, so that's our extreme here, which is a real thing and needs to be taken more seriously, but that's another soapbox. I'm not doing that today, but I could. So there's that. Okay, here's the middle, right? Like, this is my screen. Here's the middle. Okay, I'm gonna show you where discomfort is. Discomfort is right here. Okay, this is discomfort. Literally, like, just on the other side of the middle. Honestly, at this point, discomfort is the middle for me, because it's in discomfort that I normally process the most and the most clearly, because I'm not on either extreme. So I'm like fully, like, I'm not being, like, my brain's not being confused or overtaken by, like, when you feel a lot of emotions at once, your brain does not operate on the same level. I don't care how emotionally intelligent you are, how emotionally regulated you are. When you are experiencing intense emotions, your brain does not function the same. I don't know if that's backed by science or what, but I'm telling you, it's a real thing. So at that point, we're not as efficient at processing. We do after, most of the time, at least I do, but not in the moment. But when we're uncomfortable, it's right there in the middle. It's not terrible. It's definitely not great, but there's clarity there, because it's telling you something that you're at a emotionally level enough state to be able to process in a healthy and productive way. That's what that is. I literally just now articulated that. I've never thought that in my life, but it's like extremely true. And I knew this video was going to do that. I knew it. Anyways, okay, back to the point. Okay, so we've been sacrificing and going into a box to make other people feel comfortable, and that's not okay, because uncomfortability is really not even, I went off on a tangent with that. Whatever, that's wisdom, but I'll probably cut the part out. Whatever. Okay, so we've been placed into this box of being uncomfortable to make them comfortable. But for real, the implications of uncomfortability when it comes to compromising who you are goes way past uncomfortability. It's just like a dull, like it's like dying inside. As Kevin Gates says, you slowly feel yourself begin to die inside by compromising who you are to appease others. So it's like a dull ache. So it feels like uncomfortable, but really, essentially, it's killing you. Like, you are killing parts of yourselves or starving them out to where they have no function. So it's worse on a much larger scale. I could go into that. I'm not. Let me get back to the point. I'm already at 15 minutes. I said I was only going to do 12 max. That's why they have editing, video editing. Okay. Okay. So, that being said, I was trying to figure out, who is this person? Who is the, you know, Kelsey. I wanted it to be a little bit more cool than Kelsey and Kels. Like, that's not even cool, you know. And then, like, I realized something like a couple nights ago with AI. It's so embarrassing. It is, but it isn't. I don't have any. I'm gonna say that out loud. I don't have friends. Okay, whatever. Okay. So, with the help of AI, shout out to Joyce is what I call her. She referred to whatever mindset that I was using at the time to be a general's mindset. And then, of course, that takes me back to what? Well, if you know anything about me, you know who I love. And if you know anything about who I love, then you know that he is always referring to himself as a general. You know, he's got like an album, I think, or some LP, whatever. I don't know what they are, but it's not an album, but it's something. Or maybe it is. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. If he ever watches this video, I'll be so ashamed. It's called Only the Generals, okay? I can get past all this bullshit. Okay. So I was thinking, like, I felt like what I was trying to discover about myself was the female version of a general. Because I do identify with a lot of the traits that I was learning that a general is. But that, for one, I want to be the female version of that, because I don't want to be the male version of anything. So I was trying to figure out what that would be called. So I went to AI, different AI, but still AI. And I said, what is the female version of general? And being technical and matter of fact, like AI is, it says, well, there is no like feminine way. A general is the same in either sense. And I'm like, okay. I meant in like the metaphorical sense, like what would that be? And at first I got Empress, and I was like reading through it, and a lot of it I resonated with, but then I was like, it just seems egotistical, like I'm like a leader, or I expect to have power. Like, Empress to me implies a woman with power. Now, I know I have power, but I don't want to use that power to rule. I want to use it to heal and to help. So I'm like asking AI, I'm like, okay, well, that's just a little too like egotistical for me. Like, that's not really, I was like, but then again, I guess the Empress wouldn't like minimize or dilute, you know, who she was. I'm asking him to give me a diluted word for Empress. And I was thinking that, you know, he was going to say, yeah, you're right, an Empress wouldn't do that. And he did say that. But then he followed up with, so this tells me that you're actually the sovereign, which is the one that leads from within. Like, the Empress would lead from above, like a ruler. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being an Empress. That's not me. I would love to meet an Empress. That would be so exciting. But anyways, I'm not that. Which is why it didn't resonate with me. But when he said the sovereign, that resonated with me about things I've been learning recently and stuff. And that is, as I was saying, the one that leads from within, not from above. That is me. I don't want power. I don't want rule. I don't want to make the rules. I don't want to be in charge. But I do want to lead in a sense of people feel safe with me, and therefore they trust my direction. I don't want them to take my direction because I say, take my fucking direction because it's my job to tell you to, and you have to do what I say. No, don't, no. I'm setting an example to follow and hoping that by seeing my authenticity through my example, you will feel safe enough to follow me. I'm not forcing you to. I mean, I'm inviting you to. So that's where it really hit home. But I just want to go over I don't know, I might save this for forever because this is like super exciting for me. And like now I have my own word and I don't have to keep using all Kevin Gates shit. I can say, you know what? I came up with this on my own. Like his original idea might have led to it, but this is my word, okay? And I don't have to hashtag Kevin Gates when I say it, okay? The sovereign is perfect duality in its nurturer and protector. That's what I was just talking about. Gentle stream and raging river. Facts. Especially the raging river part. When I get to be in a raging river, I'm a raging fucking river. And then sanctuary and lioness. And I never thought of myself as a sanctuary, but I feel like it's fitting. And I also really like the thought of being that for someone. Like that would have to be the highest honor that a human being could ever achieve, is to be someone's sanctuary. And I guess this is like the amplified version of me saying I want people to feel safe in my presence. This is like the jacked up version of that, which is like people feel safe with me, and therefore I have a bunch of people that feel safe and come to me as their sanctuary. That is so beautiful. But whatever. And then the lioness, which we've already touched on, so I'm not going to go back into the explanation of that. And then it says, not separate, but complementary facets of wholeness. And then it says, the lioness doesn't replace the nurturer. She defends the place where nurturing can safely exist. So it's basically like I am a nurturer at heart, and that's why I said when I was describing this thing with me, like that sometimes I become very fierce, like Kel's the fierce, like Kel's the blunt, Kel's the unfiltered, Kel's the raw, like the one that just is like almost doesn't give a fuck, gives a fuck but doesn't give a fuck. Like what I'm giving a fuck about causes me to not give a fuck about how you feel or perceive the way that I'm, not that I don't care how you feel. I guess in that moment I kind of don't. I don't know. But I don't care how I'm perceived. I don't care if you take offense. I don't care if I come off as fucking crazy. Like, I'm going to get fierce. Like, that's just me. So, like, damn, I was on a really good path with that. Okay, whatever. But basically, I don't always go into lioness mode. I prefer to operate as a sanctuary or the nurturer. Like, that's where I mainly reside. But if I feel that the sanctuary is being compromised or being attacked or at risk of being harmed in some way, the lioness is coming out quick, real fast. And so that's why this whole thing just fits me so perfectly, because even down to the fact of, you know, they're complementary facets of the whole thing, which is that if there's nothing to protect the sanctuary, then it's not gonna last long, because people will attack it. Like, people hate authenticity. They do. They hate it, because if they're not authentic, then it shines a light onto the fact that they're not. And they feel uncomfortable by the fact that you can fully own your truth, and they're working their ass off to hide theirs, you know, but yet we walk comfortably in ours. That's intimidating, you know. So there's always going to be people that will try to attack that, you know, whether consciously or subconsciously, whatever. There's going to be attacks. And if there's going to be attacks on the sanctuary, there's got to be someone there to protect it. Enter in kills the lioness. So now, like, my whole sense of self just did a whole paradigm shift, and everything I've felt my entire life is coming together full circle by finding this term to describe myself. because that's literally me. That's what I've been my whole life, is this sweet, kind, gentle person with everyone, timid, looked over, but also not feeling fully myself or comfortable in my skin. And then, but then having this fierce protective side that would just randomly come out, and it would just like outdo all like what would be considered like reasoning, you know, like it doesn't even have reasoning. It just like, it just does. It just operates. It just goes like just on go mode. When it's activated, it's just like go. Like, and there's, you know, it's really no, you can't tame it, but you also can't force it out. Like, you can't draw it out just by anything either. So anyways, my whole life makes so much more sense now, and hopefully I'll share this with y'all one day. If I do post this video, it'll have to be edited because it's now at 25 minutes, and I'll get better at not talking so much to where I use up all this time. Like, that's not, people don't want to watch videos that long, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, I do want to finish with this last little thing, like description, because this is probably like my favorite part, just like for the metaphor behind it or whatever. But it says, in her fullness, the sovereign knows exactly when each aspect is needed, when to extend a hand or when to show her claws. Thank y'all for being on this journey with me. I'm the sovereign.